I hope you guys can see me okay. Last time I talked to you, it didn't come through the way I wanted it to, so my apologies for that. But anyway, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? I hope you guys are doing well. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Last time I was talking, you couldn't hear me. So if you can hear me, let me know. Hey, what's going on, Black Agenda? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a yes if you can hear me. I want to make sure you can hear me okay. I see a thumbs up. Just give me the word yes. The sound's 100? Okay, all right, good. Good stuff, good stuff. I'm with you all the way from Saudi Arabia. That's what's up. Thank you so much. Keep speaking truth. Well, I don't believe in speaking anything else. You're good? Okay, cool. Yeah. Yesterday, you guys couldn't hear me at all. But anyway, yeah, so we have these B1 t-shirts, actually. If you go to wokeblacktees.com, if you want to get a B1 t-shirt, feel free to do that. We'll have them at the All Black National Convention. The information's right there. The link is in the bio, by the way. I don't know if I put the link is in the bio, but there we go. Link is in the bio. Perfect. Yeah, so did y'all watch Dave Chappelle? Holy shit. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's like a dream come true for somebody like me because I've always said that the day that black people will start to really gain power is when our entertainers and celebrities are really waking up. And they are waking up. Like, they're hearing us, and I get calls from some of them and stuff like that. And it's real interesting to just see what happens when people get exposed to truth about, racism, how it works. And I admire Dave Chappelle a lot. I've never met him. Willie D is a good friend of mine, and Willie D is a friend of Dave's. So I know him. I know several people that know him, but I've never met him. Maybe we're getting a house in Atlanta, and I'm going to be there a lot, making movies and doing events and teaching and stuff like that. So maybe when I go to Atlanta, I'll bump into him. But I'll tell you, I loved that special. It was so perfect because it was well thought out. And in fact, this was why I wasn't surprised when I found out that Dave Chappelle, y'all might not know this, but Dave Chappelle's father is a college professor. Or is it his mother? Or is it both? I'm trying to remember. I know for Kanye, both of his parents are college professors. Wendy Williams, if I'm not mistaken, had a father who was a college professor. And when I talk to these people, when I talk to Kanye on the phone, I only talked to him once, he appreciated what I was sharing with him, right? He appreciated scholars and thinkers, right? He's different, but he got it, and I was like, I don't know nothing about all this other stuff. I understand it's part of the circus. That's what makes you, mainstream. But there was a connection, right? Like we kind of got each other. Like he understood Claude Anderson. And then I think for Chappelle, I think his mother being a college professor plays a part. When I talked to Wendy Williams, actually, I had several conversations with her before she went on TV, and we talked for a long time. And I can tell people, because there's different types of people, right? There's people who look at college professors as out of touch nerds, right? Like, why would I want to be smart? Being smart is acting white or whatever. And then there are people who say, you're different from me, but I respect the fact that you are thinking about things. I respect what you bring to the table, and I appreciate that. I don't want people to be like me. Just respect what we're trying to do. And so with Dave Chappelle, the beauty of his comedy to me is that this man is, he's a comedic genius. Yeah, white people give you lots of awards and stuff, and he deserves all those, the Emmys, the Grammys, the Mark Twain Award. But honestly, I don't give a shit about any of that. Like, that stuff's made up. Like, I think we should decide who our geniuses are, right? That's my belief. But what I liked about it is that people don't understand how good, intelligent comedy is literally a superpower. It's like a Trojan horse, It's like you're coming in dressed as the clown when really you are the king and you have a sword, right? The clown comes in with the sword and the poison, and he takes off the clown suit. After he gets you laughing and gets you kind of laid back, he comes in and he just cuts you. I just, so to me, it's like, I just love it because the same tactic that they use on us, where they lure us to sleep and then fuck us over, he kind of did that to white liberals. I think that if they knew what kind of a person Dave Chappelle was, if they knew this 30 years ago, I don't think they ever would have let him have a platform. They wouldn't have put him in one single movie. Like, because a lot of Hollywood is weird. Hollywood is built on gay, trans, drugs, white people, white liberals doing whatever they want. So people like him are not particularly welcome in that space. And so for him to do that special that he's done, and for him to be so forthright in what he believes, I have nothing but admiration for that. We watched his special last night, and I thought it was, honestly, it's a little bit weird to me if you spend the whole special making jokes about gay people. That part was like, okay, I don't really care. My position on LGBT and all that is, my honest position is I really feel bad for the people I know who are LGBT or trans, because I cannot imagine. Imagine me. I'm a man, right? I everything about a man in terms of what manhood means. That's who I am. And nobody taught me how to be a man. Nobody told me to be a man. I just am. I cannot imagine if I had been born with a woman's body. Like if I'd been born in a woman's body, and I'm looking down and I got boobs and a vagina, but I'm still boys on the inside. That would be absolutely torturous, and so I really think I encourage you, as you support what Dave said, and I agree with I think Dave did a great job. Just, try to make sure you move forward with some sort of empathy and compassion to, like have a heart for people that are really dealing with some crazy shit. Or imagine if you're born with a penis and a vagina, or imagine if you really believe you're, like a lot of y'all, some of y'all are women. Imagine if you really know you're a woman, but you had a man's body. Like just, and try to explain that. Like you fall in love with a man and you're like, I was born with a penis. Like that's some horrible shit. Like that's some nightmarish shit for everybody. And I can't imagine having to live that way. And I think it's very important for us to at least acknowledge that. Now with that said, some shit just goes too far, when you talk about just the, somebody deciding to switch genders whenever they want, that's clearly, in my view, that's some white people shit. Like this idea that I can just decide that I'm a man on Tuesday and a woman on Wednesday or whatever, and now I get to go and I like when I used to run track in high school, I was captain of the track team, right? Oh, by the way, Ronnie Baker, who was also on the same track team as my high school, he graduated 20 years after me, though. He's actually coming to the All-Black National Convention. He was in the Olympics, this past Olympics. He actually got fifth in the men's 100-meter dash. He'll be at the convention, so you can meet him if you come down to the convention. Anyway, I was captain of my track team, and I told Ronnie, I said, man, I watch you, and I'm so jealous because I wish I could run as fast as you, because he's run 9.77 in a 100-meter dash, and if you know anything about track, or if you don't, just know that that's superhuman. Like 20 years ago, it was impossible for any human being to run that fast. Now they've got a couple guys that run that fast, right? So anyway, I remember I used to imagine, I would say, God, can you imagine? I would look at the girls' times and I would say, man, can you imagine if we were like Joanna Man and could be like the girls and go out and compete against the girls? Like I have my speed and a girl's body. Like I would dominate. I would win everything, right? Instead, I competed against the dudes and I would do okay. I was pretty fast. I was faster than all the guys on the football team, actually. So I was a pretty good athlete, but I wanted to be all-American. I wanted to be all-state. I was none of those things, right? Everybody can't be all-state, And so when I see the trans stuff and I see people just saying, I feel like a woman. And then next thing you know, you're like competing against women and you're kicking ass. Like you're a complete loser over here. Like you're not Bruce Jenner. You're not Caitlyn Jenner or whatever, we should call him or her. You're literally a scrub when you're competing with the men, and then you just say, I'm going to be a woman now. And next thing you know, you're winning medals, breaking records, taking medals away from women, like real women who were born that way. That is some bullshit, man. And I personally don't understand why they didn't just say, look, we understand your transition. If you have to go through that, do that. But you cannot compete in sports. You cannot get out here with your big masculine ass, your testosterone, whatever, your testosterone tracers. I don't care how much therapy you get. You can't get out here, cage fighting with women and beating women's asses. There was one lady that crushed a woman's skull. Like she went in there, she was trans, and everybody's trying to be politically correct. And this lady gets in the cage and beats the shit out of another woman. And the other woman was like, she's like, I don't want to be mean or anything, But I've never seen that kind of strength from a woman before. She said, I'm a pretty strong girl. Like I rarely run into a woman who could defeat me in the cage, but it was like her fighting Superman, you know? And so people, like, that's common sense. That is common fucking sense. And so what Dave brought to the table, and black people, we're just smarter in a lot of ways. We're the canary in the mine. He just brought some common sense back to the stupidity of political correctness. You know, a lot of ideas that started off that could have been good ideas, like the Me Too movement, turned into absolute shit shows where there's something that happens when power, you know, they say power can corrupt people. And so when you take somebody who's victimized and then you make them suddenly super powerful and they get to make the whole world in their own image and everybody gets out of their way and they go around crushing souls, that person can actually be the most abusive motherfucker in the world. I mean, there's nothing more abusive than a person who was bullied his whole entire life. You ever see that? Like, a lot of cops are like that. My father was a police officer for 20-something years, and they had psychological profiles of certain people that they would not allow in the police department. Now all these fucked up people are getting jobs on the police force because somehow white people convince y'all to believe we should just completely defund police and make it horrible to be a cop. So now good people don't want to be cops anymore. The only people that want to be cops are crazy people. So now they got to take everybody. But back in the day, when that was considered to be a good, solid job and a respectable job, people would apply. And they could identify instantly the motherfucker who grew up getting his ass kicked, who fantasized about having a gun and some power where he could go around and just beat people to death for whatever reason he wanted, right? And they can identify those people typically. I mean, some get through the cracks, of course, as we know, because we've seen what happened. But that's kind of what I see when I see the movements with Me Too, the LGBT plus ABC 1 2 3 XYZ QCT, like adding fucking letters every week. Like, you're confusing people. I'm sorry, it's weird. You know, and everything in between. And you're expecting the rest of the world to just get in line with the nonsense. And it expands, it extends itself into a form of white liberal fascist imperialism, where they're like, now everybody needs to get the jab. You know, like, okay, so 2 months ago you were pissed off because somebody said that to vote you should have an ID, but now you want me to have this, this jab passport, this thing from Merck or Moderna or whatever that says I can go to a fucking restaurant. Are you serious? Over a virus that 99.8% of us are going to survive? Are you serious right now? You know, and so it's kind of like this. What I liked about what Dave Chappelle did was it challenged this whole because I said so rhetoric that you're getting from the liberals who pretty much define themselves to be the pimps of black people. And your black leaders ain't doing it. Your black leaders are full of shit. They're a bunch of pussies. They don't stand up for anything. And Dave Chappelle stood up, you know, and I'll tell you, I was very proud of him. I was very proud. I was following the jokes. I don't hear jokes the way everybody else does. Like, I'll hear you and I'll say, oh, he's making a joke about titties. He's being ignorant right now so he can get into your mind, into your consciousness. But watch, he's going to say something. And I would say to my wife, because my wife, you know, she's a professor too. And I'd be like, watch, he's going to say something real deep in a minute, right? That's what he does. It's like, oh, wow. So first it's like, yeah, I went to the bar and drank a beer and wanted to get my dick sucked. Ha, right? But then he'll say some shit that's like earth-shatteringly deep. And I'll be like, that's, okay, there's the Boyce Watkins in him coming out right there. You couldn't pay me money to not believe that Dave Chappelle has paid attention to even some of the stuff that we talk about, because a lot of people don't talk about the stuff that we talk about in this space, right? I'm not bragging, it's just true, right? So a lot of times I can identify, I'll be like, yeah, there you go. He picked up on the nuance. He understands those subtleties of how your so-called allies can be your biggest oppressors and your biggest pimps. And they're, of course, they're going to try to punish him for it. Because they believe that they can. Again, that's what that fascism does. That arrogance of power causes them to do. And right now, so far, it has not been successful. Don't be surprised if the tide turns. Like, don't be surprised if at some point either there's a series of hit pieces on Dave that come out. You know, he beat his wife, he smoked crack, he shot his dog, whatever. And don't be surprised if he loses favor. You know, I think I've been really pleasantly surprised that he's been able to withstand, you know, all the the backlash that's out there. I wouldn't be surprised if that changes, you know, because remember, Netflix has to consistently be on board with supporting, you know, the releases of these specials that he's doing. And I'm really astonishingly impressed with Netflix's resiliency in this as well. I'd be curious to see how this plays out for him. But I'll tell you, we should take what he's given us so far, and you can run with that. Like he's literally liberated. I mean, at least ideologically and politically, liberated millions of people, and allowed you to kind of bust out of this prison that white liberals have always kept you in. This Democratic Party prison, this prison of Me Too. This prison of LGBT, believing that gay is the same as being black. This prison of make sure you get the jab, and somebody pieced it together, and I shared his tweet on on Instagram, and he was pointing out how he was pointing out how Nicki Minaj, certain NBA players like Kyrie Irving and Dave Chappelle have slowly but surely been pushing back against the people who have positioned themselves as Negro managers. Like, they're pushing back to say, we're not doing this. Like, no, I'm not going to get that jab if it doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going along with your ideology just because you told me to believe this. And I think that's what you need. And if you notice another common factor, here's what you got to pay attention to with Kyrie in particular and Dave Chappelle. And there's others out there as well. They let go of the drug of money. The number one way that white supremacists in America in general controls the world is through money. Like when a country doesn't do what America wants it to do, first thing they do is they impose economic sanctions, right? So money is a type of warfare. It's used like the same way a pusher can control the drug addict. If I'm the pusher and you're the addict, I got the power, because if you get out of line, I'm just going to take the drug away. So the drug isn't just going to be crack or heroin. Sometimes the drug is money. Sometimes the drug could be my affection and validation. If I know that a woman needs me to tell her that I think you're attractive in order for you to feel attractive, then that's my drug. My drug is that if you do what I say, then I'm going to say, girl, you're so pretty. Oh, my God, I love you so much. You are so beautiful. Oh, I want to marry you. We should have a couple kids one day. Right? I'm going to play with your head, right? But then when you get out of line, I'll be like, you fat, raggedy bitch. Before me, you wasn't nothing. If I put you out here, ain't nobody gonna want your ass. You got 2 kids. Who gonna want you, right? So that's that game, that pusher addict relationship is big, and that's what is used to control black people. And that's why you got to be real careful about being addicted to things, right? The Buddhists have it best. The Buddhists actually say you should want nothing. The freest person in the world is a person who knows how to not want any, who knows how to talk themselves out of wanting things, right? So with money, for example, like, I think money is okay. Money has power, right? But if you want to know, one of the things that makes it very easy for me to reject a lot of things is because I know money is a drug, because I've been studying money for 30 years. And I said, I want money, but I do not want to want money too much. Because if you get to that point where you want money too much, you become, you turn into what Nick Cannon became, right? Nick Cannon got bitch slapped because of the money. What's the difference between Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart? I'd say Chappelle's a little funnier, right? But Kevin can do okay. But Kevin is a guy who, he needs that validation. He needs that money. He needs that status. He needs all these other things. So he hasn't evolved. He hasn't risen sort of spiritually to where he can vibrate on the level of a Dave Chappelle. Like, Dave Chappelle is probably a pretty spiritual guy, because he's kind of decided, like, you can't really buy my soul. Like, I'm not selling you. That's not for sale, and he's been very consistent, and I've been really impressed with that. So pay attention. Take notes, black people. That's how you can win. So anyway, I'm going to go. By the way, these shirts, actually, if you go to wokeblacktees.com, if you want to get a B1 shirt, you can. Or also, they'll be on sale at the convention. The All Black National Convention information, the link is in the bio. So feel free to click on it if you want to take a look. We have a lot of experts that are going to be there. I'm really excited to hear from Queen Afua, who is, to me, that's our Dr. Fauci, right? She's the one who's going to talk to you about actually having a healthy immune system. If you notice in the media, they talk all day about pills and jabs, but they don't talk anything about taking care of your body. It's like, go ahead and fuck yourself up, and then we'll come along and make ourselves the hero. We'll give you a pill that'll make you feel better until your fat ass dies, right? So Queen Afua is really interesting to listen to. I look forward to hearing from her. And Rizza Islam is going to be there. I want to hear his perspective. But we also have some people who support the jab, and I want to hear those perspectives too. So we have like a nice mix. We have people, relationship experts. Dr. Adrian Carter is really good. He's really smart. My wife will be there, Dr. Alicia, of course. And there's a few others, Nur Muhammad, and a ton of other people. I can't even name everybody. I mean, Farmer Brown, the MC, D1, Victory Boyd and her family. There's so many great people coming. So I hope you'll stop through. Link is in the bio. And we'd love to have you, and it will be a transformative experience. So, and by the way, college students get in free. So if you are a college student, you have a valid student ID, tell your friends, bring as many of your friends, you can bring 200 friends from your university, because we want to embrace Black college students that really want to get a real education from real experts and leaders in the community. We have PhDs, just like your university does. We have lawyers, just like your university does. The only thing we have that they don't typically have is we have millionaires and billionaires on the docket. We've got many people affiliated with the Black Business School and what we do who are millionaires. We got a billionaire, Mike Roberts, who's come through. Herb Strather's done $2 billion worth of commercial real estate deals. Amari Head and Devon Reeves have done $4 billion worth of they brokered $4 billion worth of hotel deals. So these are not tiny little Negroes. You just don't see them on TV because they're not dribbling basketballs, throwing footballs, or rapping. But these are the people that are getting it done in your community. So feel free to come on out. You know, I'd love to see you there. And I'm talking about it a lot because it took a lot of work, and it's going to be an amazing thing. And I know it'll be transformative. So I hope you'll at least give it some thought, share it with your family. That would help us a lot because we're really getting this thing done, and we can't stop, won't stop. So God bless you guys. Love you. I'll see you soon. Have a good day. Talk to you later. Peace.